The fact that they announced the next FromSoft game at the Game Awards was a pleasant surprise, naturally. But then the fact that this was not Elden Ring 2, but still an Elden Ring game, and then all of the details to follow, that was just a surprise. That was just a surprise. Highly unexpected. So, Elden Ring Nightreign, it is an Elden Ring game in a sense. It uses Elden Ring stuff, assets and concepts. I'm not 100% sure if this will be considered canon, if this is something that really and truly takes place within the canon of Elden Ring. I really don't know, but basically, the concept is it's Elden Ring, except it is also a co-op roguelite. Now, all of their games have co-op to a point, but it's very limited co-op. You have to stay within certain areas. You're mostly just summoning other players to help with bosses. But there's an Elden Ring mod that allows full co-op, and apparently this has been downloaded literally millions of times. So full co-op Elden Ring or FromSoft style game, it's very much a thing that the people want, and this to me it seems to be FromSoft's first attempt at doing this and making a fully co-op experience. I'm still a little bit unclear if you'll be able to play it single player, and if you do, will it still be fun? I don't know. It's yet to be seen. But this is meant to be a co-op experience. I mean, 3-player, right? This will be 3 players, and it is also a roguelite. I believe that means that if you die or you lose, you lose, you run, you end it. But then it's also got Fortnite elements. It's also got this cloud of gas or whatever, and it's shrinking the playing field. I'm not 100% sure about that yet. But okay, so here's the thing. It's Elden Ring, but it's primarily multiplayer, and it's got that little Fortnite thing in there, and it's like a roguelike. Okay, so on paper, this is scary. On paper, it's a little alarming, and it's definitely not entirely up my alley. I'm not a big fan of roguelikes and roguelites. I don't like the whole endless runs thing. I don't want to do that. I don't want to lose my progress when I die or whatever. So I think there's a lot of different feelings going on here. On one end, you do have my own personal disappointment that I'm 100% sure that playing this game will be incredibly fun for the people who actually do it. I don't play co-op games. I never get friends together. I could, and I recognize that if I did, it would be fun. And the times that I have done it has been really fun, but just realistically, I know that I'm probably not going to be playing this with friends. It's just not really going to happen. And, I could have fun with a roguelite. I have had fun with that kind of experience in the past. I just know that I'm less likely to. So there is a personal disappointment here. This is not just a regular old FromSoft game that I'm going to love. And, they're working on a number of games at any given time. And so each time they reveal one, I just have to keep my fingers crossed that this will be one of the ones that I happen to like. So, it's disappointing to see that it's probably not. It's probably not going to be one of the ones that I like. But then you move to the controversial elements. The fact that this has got some of those weird multiplayer stuff. They turned it into a roguelike. And I could see being worried about that. I could see being wary of the concept, especially just throwing the word Fortnite in there anywhere, even if it's using any kind of concept from that game. I could see there being a worry. Personally, though, I'm actually 100% on board with this game. You see people all over the place. Some people are crazy about it. Some people are I don't know. I think this is the beginning of the end. This is FromSoft. They're finally going bad. I personally have complete faith in this. The fact that they're leaning a little bit more into some of these elements, I am not worried. Because this is not, I mean, you know, we all have this this image of like what happens if FromSoft goes bad. Oh, they make a full live service game. Live service, it's the naughty no words, but this is not that. This is not even almost that. They even said it, like there's no battle pass. This is not a live service game. This is simply a co-op game. Yes, it is mainly like multiplayer focused, but these games already have such a huge multiplayer element, and this is kind of just leaning more into that. And if anything, the whole roguelite structure, you know, it's short. The runs are much shorter. You're not, you know, playing the game for hundreds of hours like usual. You have like 3 days, and you and your team, you got 3 days. You have to like pick which boss you fight last, but then like how you get there is up to you. So the whole time you're going and you're farming XP and you're defeating enemies and you're getting your items and all that stuff. So I don't know, it's kind of just taking the concept of these big FromSoft games, it's taking Elden Ring and its assets and things and boiling it down into a shorter co-op experience. And because it's a roguelike, it's the kind of thing that you can probably do over and over and over again. I think it's a cool concept, and I especially love how economical, I love that word, economical this game is. This is not ashamed to lift anything and everything from Elden Ring and just repackage it as this new thing. And it's all about context. Coming from another studio, this might seem just kind of gross. Like, really? You're gonna be so, you know, lazy or whatever? Another greedier studio or publisher might not be able to get away with this. But like in this case, I trust FromSoft. Like completely, like pretty much completely. I talked about it recently in a video. I think they're probably the best gaming company out there. I completely trust them. And one of the things I like about them is how economical they are in their design. They keep their budgets in check by reusing elements over and over again. But it doesn't feel lazy. It doesn't feel like they just don't want to try. It's because they just like don't need, like they create new stuff as needed, but then they reuse stuff when it works and when we actually like it. We like these common repeating elements. It's part of the charm. And I know it's funny to say that. It's funny to give them the out. Just be like, yeah, reuse whatever you want. But I don't know. They've struck such a great balance with it. It's never felt cheap. It's only felt like, okay, so you're giving us more of what we love and you are saving money in the process. I'm fine with that. So I actually think it's cool. Elden Ring, as I've said many times, it's basically 3 or 4 games in one. It's impossibly huge. It genuinely feels like too much content for one game, and I've never said that about any game before. It's almost like too much. So like, yes, take this several games worth of game and break it all down and repackage it and give us this fun run-based experience with all these different bosses. And I mean, what's my thing with Pikmin? What's my thing? What do I want more than anything when it comes to Pikmin? I want a level editor. I want, like, I think the concept is so good. The gameplay is so fun. They've provided so many different enemies and obstacles and hazards. I want to be able to take all of that and mix it around and make new combinations with it, because that's just, if you love the gameplay enough, then that's just infinite gameplay. And here, you know, they're not letting the players move all this stuff around, but like, I'm fine with them doing that. I'm fine with them taking all of this fun stuff and mixing it up. Some of the most popular, like FromSoft mods for like Elden Ring and Dark Souls and stuff, randomizers. People just like mix up the items, mix up the enemies. It's a new experience now. So like, yeah, like this game, it's basically taking this, the concept of mods. You know, their games are very, very big. The modding scene for the games, you know, with the co-op and other tweaks and things and randomizers and all this wacky stuff that people do, they're basically leaning into that and just being like, let's do that. Let's do that ourselves. Let's, like, why not? Let's make a FromSoft game that's a little bit more gamey, a little bit more arcadey, a little bit more along the lines of something that you get when you take a FromSoft game and you apply all of these mods to it. The game is faster, by the way. It's like 50% faster or something, just like across the board. Just, that's another really great detail. The kind of thing that you would mod onto the game. And I think it's fantastic. And it doesn't feel like it comes from a place of like greed or whatever. It's, you know, the story goes, Miyazaki, he's got another guy who works at the company and he really trusts him. And so one day he was like, hey, you should make a game. You should direct a game. And so the guy came up with a pitch for this and pitched it and it got greenlit. And here it is. Like, I don't know. I think it's great. It is an economical project. It's not the sort of thing that's going to get in the way of anything. They're not doing this instead of the next big game, instead of Elden Ring 2 or whatever. It's just like a fun side thing. And I think it's going to be a big hit. Honestly, I think it's going to be a really big hit with a lot of players. You'll get plenty of people who aren't interested. You'll get plenty of people who are turned off by the roguelite aspect, or they just don't like the reuse of assets or whatever. But like, I don't know. I think it's probably going to be an amazingly fun time. And you know what? It's apparently not just using Elden Ring bosses. I didn't notice at the time, but apparently it shows off a bunch of enemies from like Dark Souls in the trailer. The centipede demon is there. Some of the little spiders from like the Duke's Dear Freya fight is in there. Nameless King from Dark Souls 3 is in, like, okay. This is just wacky. This is I mean, it's kind of a dream come true. If you're gonna make like this co-op focused kind of remixy arcadey Elden Ring experience, but now you're also bringing in enemies and bosses from previous games. Like, I don't know if that itself is enough to make this non-canon or whatever, but like, that's cool. I mean, like, now that we know that, now that we know it's gonna have enemies from other games, other series, imagine playing the thing. There will probably be a bunch of really cool surprises. What kinds of enemies and bosses might you find? Like, that's almost a selling point right there. If this is like, it's like FromSoft greatest hits, I'll take it, man. So yeah, I'm a little bit torn on it. I feel like I realistically probably won't play it, even though I do like the idea of playing it, even though I'm sure it's going to be a heck of a fun time for people who have large chunks of hours to to get together with your friends and play it. I'm sure it's going to be an absolute blast. So yeah, there's the slight personal disappointment, but it's kind of mixed with I don't know, I'm just like impressed. I'm kind of just impressed by this project. I think it's a cool idea, and with any other studio, I might be a little bit more skeptical, but I am not here. Even if this is like a super low budget, cheesy kind of game, they just took a bunch of assets and cobbled it together into a new thing. Even if this basically is a mod, like this is the kind of mod that you would play for Elden Ring. Oh, I turned it into a roguelike, and it's got the shrinking gas thing and it's co-op. Like that's the kind of thing you would play. And so, I don't know. I just think that's cool. I think it's cool that they're doing it themselves. I think it's cool to take a game and take the assets and give us this more quickly developed. Clearly, they didn't spend too much time on it. They haven't been working on it for the last 10 years or whatever. Easier to develop, cheaper, gives us another just cool FromSoft game to play. I think it's cool, and it's coming next year. You know, they've been pretty consistent with their releases. You know, we had Shadow of the Erd Tree and Armored Core, and what are they giving us, like, basically something every year? It kind of seems like. So there you go. This is the 2025 FromSoft title. And I think it's cool.